All right, let me see if I can do this some justice here. All right, I think we're fairly good. Hey, Mr. Novi, how you doing, buddy? Kill a big buck last night? All right, we're gonna see if we can do it justice. So, we'll give. So we got a few people joining, but getting ready. Also, I hear you, Robert. No dice on the buck, eh, Mark? I hear you. I had a little 7-pointer come in, and that was it. And we're supposed to get some rain, but we might be able to sneak out yet tonight. But anyway, so what I wanted to do, so we get, a lot of, I wouldn't say a lot of questions, but we'll get a fair amount of questions about trap prep and stuff like that. And there's a plethora of videos out there, right? Just, but when it comes to dip, I don't see a lot of people talk too much about Formula One. Formula One is the product that I like to use. I like to use the brown. I've tried the green and I've tried all sorts of different stuff, but I like the brown. I think it tends to work the best. You want that rack? This rack is awesome, man. Each of these rungs I made to where they got like this little, see if I can back up. They got a little slip joint over top of them. I can pull each one of those rungs out, so if I need to hang something bigger in there, I can do that. But it's got basically bolts welded on each side of that angle iron, so you can hang a bunch of traps from it. But anyways, then on the bottom it's got wheels. I can wheel it out of the way. But anyways, back to the Formula One, the dipping. So this is what I like to use. It's got really no scent to it, where you're not adding any fuels or gases or anything like that. And I don't use this for foothold traps. Okay, so just be clear, I don't use it for footholds. Like these are just some extra bridgers I had. These are 1.5s. And then right down here, right down here is my wax pot that I'll dip those 1.5s in. Yeah, Aaron, I made that rack. So here's a look. See if I can get a look at the wheels. Woohoo! There we go. So there you can see the wheel on it. You basically just tilt the rack back and you can wheel it out of the way. And then, all right, we'll do, since we're on the rack, here's a closer look. Closer look at these guys. They just slip on and off to hold the angle iron on. But anyways, I think I can hold about 150 or so traps on that. Something along those lines. But anyways, speaking of the Formula One. So again, I don't use the Formula One or any dip for that matter. This is the only dip I use. But I wouldn't use personally any dip for my foothold traps, whether they're water, K9 traps, whatever. Doesn't matter to me. I'm a wax and dye guy. That's just what I do. So those bridgers are getting ready to be waxed. But anyways, I got a bunch of RBGs in. So I think I've got 4 dozen RBGs to do. And man, these are out. I can't wait to use these ones. So these are custom jobs from Nick. These are single spring 160s. I've got my my spring clip on there, but I'll end up removing the cable. But anyways, I'll dip those, get my name tag on, and away we'll go. But those are awesome. I can't wait to use them for rats. But speaking of dip, so I want to show you. So when it comes to using speed dip, especially when it comes to Formula One, let me flip it around here. This is my tub of Formula One, okay? And again, I used 2 quarts of the brown, which would be 4 quarts of water. And you'll see that there's some bubbles in here, Okay, these are just really micro bubbles. They don't really bother me that much. If I still had some of the larger bubbles, big bubbles, it wouldn't be ready, in my opinion, to start dipping yet. You want to let those bubbles dissipate, because what ends up happening is those bubbles, they'll form on your body grip or on your snare or something like that, and they'll basically, when that bubble pops or goes away, there'll be a ring where that bubble was. And that'll create, essentially, especially on a snare, a bump, a very small bump. But it'll create a bump which will essentially slow your lock down, if that makes sense. So I like to wait until it's at least down to, you know, those micro bubbles, or a few of those bubbles are dissipated as much as possible, before I stop or start dipping. So that is an awesome product. And the way that I dip those, just show you. So again, I use this for all of my body grips, and I use it for my snares too. So I'm getting ready. So I'm getting ready to do 2 trips. And so one is to go up north and trap with Jeff, and I believe Nick Ernie will be there, and maybe some other special guests, who knows. But so I'm getting ready to do all these body grips for there, but then I'm also doing my snares for my trip to Kodiak, and these snares are awesome. So these are snares that that I make for up there, which these have the Newt Sterling master lock on them. This is an awesome lock, but I also put in a breakaway device just for bears and stuff like that, and got an inline swivel with the gas tube for a support collar. And then I don't have a swivel on the end, because I'm going to end up attaching it to an extension link that does have a cable, an extension cable that does have an extra swivel on it. So this is what I'm using for there. But when you dip snares, same sort of thing as you dip our, you know, the body grips, is that you want the bubbles to be gone, because if that bubble forms, you know, when it's drying, you'll get, you know, where that bubble was, you'll get basically a bump, and you don't want that. You want that to be nice and smooth on there, right? You want that nice and smooth. So again, so let those bubbles dissipate, let it go away as much as possible. And then when I'm dipping them, what I like to do is I like to picture how tight it's going to close, right? And on this lock, you can actually close it all the way, right? Because what I'll do is I'll dip it and I'll hang them from the lock area. So like from up here on this breakaway device or whatever. So all of the dip runs to the bottom of the cable, down where you're attaching it. If you were to hang them by the loop, right? So if you hang them by the loop, all of that dip is going to run, right? It's going to run down the cable, and it's going to collect right here on your lock, right? So whether you had them closed all the way or not, so you just open these ones back up. So, you know, even if you had them like that, all that dip is going to, it's going to dry all up in your lock. And that's just going to basically jack up the performance of the lock or the snare itself. So so I like to hang them, lock up, close them down as much as I can, or all the way, and then do it in that manner. So with these new RBGs, because these haven't been dipped before, these are going to get 3 to 4 dips depending on how it looks. And then year after year, like, I won't re-dip these again for probably 2 years, maybe even 3 years. And when I do that, it's 1 or 2 dips. So a really good product. Really enjoy the quality of it. It's good stuff. So I'll show you how I dip these. So I'll essentially take this. Let me see if I can extend this up just a little bit. 1 second. If you're getting nauseous, hang on. Trying to get you the view of dip there. All right. Sorry if you went for a wild ride. Here we go. Let me throw this around. And we'll do some dipping. All right. That's not too bad. So I like to take these, coil them up as much as I can. Right? And I like to do them individually as well. And then I'll just dip them in there, get them all below the dip, and then slowly unwind it, or else you'll get a face full of dip, and then hang them. Right? So that's really all that there is to it. And I'll grab another one before I get into the RBGs. And again, these will probably, snares, for snares I won't do 3 or 4, but for the body grips I will. For these snares, I'll probably only do like 2. I'll probably only do 2 dips on these. Because I don't want to gum anything up, right? So there. So that's essentially what I'm going to do and continue to do throughout this entire process here. Hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. It's not rocket science, but I think that made sense. Probably not to Mark Novi, but to everybody else it probably did. All right. And that's what we're going to do. We're just going to continue on down the line. Keep on dipping. Man, these are awesome traps, man. Let's see these RBGs. Here they are, buddy. Look at that. Got the spring clip on them. These suckers are ready to rip, man. These are an awesome trap. Awesome. So we'll just do some dipping. Flip, flip. That's all there is to it. I mean, how cool is that? Yeah, you're confused. What are you confused about, man? Let me help you unconfuse. Man, aren't these things awesome? If you haven't tried these RBGs, man, you really should. They're a great trap. We've got some other ones that I've used for the last few years in the barn there, but I liked them so much I had to get me some more. That's bigger than the single spring. Yeah, this is a 330. So these, so I got a dozen of these 330s here to go along with the other ones I got. But yeah, these ones, these small ones, these are these are gonna be my ratting RBGs. These things are awesome. So just a nice little trap. But yeah, like I said, I'll be knocking this off. RBG kills animals extra dead. They do, man. That should be their slogan. The extra dead trap. But so anyways, like I said, you know, we had some questions on how we do it, how I do it, if I, you know, what dip do I use, or do I use dip, or blah blah. So the answer to the question is yes, I use dip. I use, you know, obviously the Formula 1 on RBGs, and then on my snares. Other than that, everything's a dye and wax sort of process. And then as soon as I get done dipping these, I'll switch over to waxing those 1.5s that just came out of the dye. So busy day. And then I gotta go do Are the one I asked? Yeah, they are. So I'll show you. I don't really worry about a first year trap a whole awful lot. I pick up some new traps every year. It seems like at conventions and stuff. But like this is how well they die, right? And I degreased them. I let them rust, not overly a lot, but a little bit. They got a little bit of color to them. Basically, I was taking the oil off and getting the shine off them on that first year. It doesn't bother me at all, but these will go in the wax, and they won't look much different than this. But once I'm done, I'll end up taking this chain off. I'll replace the chain with the setup that I like to use, and I'll end up with about 30 inches of chain, a center swivel, and then our Hags bracket on the end of them. So I always pick up a bunch of these every year. We end up giving a bunch of them away throughout the season and stuff. And well, I just decided to do a few more for myself. So, but yeah, on a first year trap, whether it's a 1.5 or a K9 trap or whatever, you're not getting any real color on them unless you really care about it. You can let them rust up a little bit more, whatever. I just don't. Yeah, sorry you didn't win, man, but thanks for playing along, Mark. I didn't win any either. I bought a bunch of them. So, anyways. But just, again, just kind of my process, what I do. I know a lot of people have switched over to painting. And I've painted RBGs RBGs. I've painted, my Belle Isles. I've painted, all sorts of different traps, even some footholds. And I'm just a dye and wax guy when it comes to my canine traps. And so I just do all my footholds at the same time, water and canine. That's just my process. But, so I'll show you right here. You'll start see some of these larger bubbles. What does the dip leave a huge slime like? But yeah, see here? See those bubbles? These bubbles I don't want, especially on my snares, right? So if you start getting a bunch of bubbles, just be mindful of it. It's definitely not the best thing to have. Not the best thing to have. Doesn't hurt the body grip so much, but the snares, I don't like it. So I'll just make sure that I pat them down or whatever as I'm dipping. Just make sure that I'm not getting them on my snares for the most part. And then this stuff dries relatively quick. You could probably, I'm just guessing, on a not so humid day like today, I'm just guessing probably within 20 to 30 minutes, you could probably dip them again. Like I said, I got other stuff to do, so I'm going to go. I've got 6 dozen drowning rods to make up, so I'm going to go make those up. And I'll probably get a dozen or 2 dozen done. I'll come out and I'll start re-dipping again. And just kind of alternate. But anyways, is it reusable? So you can save it. And you can reuse it. The thing is you don't want it to, what I'm told anyways, you don't want it to freeze. I don't know what happens to it if it freezes, other than breaks the bucket and gets all over the place. But I don't know if it changes, the properties of it at all. I don't know. But I've used it, like I've dipped stuff. If I was ahead of the game, I've dipped stuff early in the summertime. And then as I've bought more traps or whatever throughout the summer, I've, used the same dip and used it, in the fall time. But I've never used it, for continuous years. I don't see why you couldn't. But if it did, if it had air to it and it dried out or whatever, you might get, you might be left with just a, I don't know, a big pile of what looks like foam or some stuff. I don't know. I have no idea what it would do, but I've always been really happy with it. Everybody that I know that's ever used it's always been pretty happy with it. And the one thing is it does put like a coating on your traps, right? So it is a very smooth coating, and it does speed them up, especially your snares. It makes them fast. And because of that, especially on your body grips, you want to be careful. It's not quite as bad as waxing a body grip, but it definitely makes the dog want to fire a little easy. So what I generally do is, on the dog where it connects to the jaw, where it lays over the jaw, as it attaches to the trigger, I'll normally take a knife or something and scratch that. Just get a little scratch going on it. Just to get some of that surface off of there, right? Some of that Formula One surface off of it. So it has a little bit better bite on the steel. I know, 330s, they scare you, man. They're a wicked trap. Wicked. But anyways, just thought I would bring everybody along as I was doing this real quick. But I'm going to let y'all go. Hopefully that answered some people's questions regarding, especially Formula One. Like I said, this stuff down here, this bubbly stuff, you want to try and not dip when there's that stuff, especially snares. So, anywho, that's all I'm doing today. Y'all have a good season, and like I said, I'll continue doing this and get ready to go play. I'm sure you'll see some videos in the coming week or so, and we'll catch y'all down the line. Yeah, I'm going to make Jeff's rods. See y'all. Bye.